Morgan bandwagon. I have not seen, I read the Gilbane report, the entire 46, 76 pages of it, and I am not convinced that we have the facts and the figures that we need to make the determination whether it's in the best interest of this town to get rid of the Morgan we currently have and start fresh with a new one. I am absolutely undecided as to what direction to go. If the best direction is a new Morgan, then I am 100% behind a new Morgan. I just haven't seen the facts and the figures that would lead me to jump to that conclusion. I want to see renovation figures, I want to see renovation designs, I want to know what the state will provide for us. There are a lot more factors involved than just acting with your heart and saying we need a new Morgan. I remember 20-odd years ago when my son was in first grade, Mrs. Savage saying, doing a week-long lesson on the difference between wants and needs. We all want a new Morgan. I want a new Morgan. Do we need a new Morgan? I need the facts and figures before I can absolutely go there.
Thank you. Mr. Cimino.
It matters very little whether I want a new Morgan or not. It matters whether you want a new Morgan or not. It's the residents of Clinton that need to make that decision based on all available information, and we all know it's a big nut. Personally, I think I'm in favor of a phased-in renovation that maintains assets that we have in our current Morgan that cannot be duplicated in the Gilbane plan. We have some features of that school, the double gymnasium, the auditorium, that absolutely should be maintained, and we can do a phased-in remodel over a period of time. Let's face it, if we build a brand new high school and go with that plan, it's like 2018 before a student will walk through those doors. I don't believe in that.
Okay, I think I've been pretty clear in my position on this. I've sat through just about every single Morgan Building Committee meeting in the last over 2 years that they've been together. It started as a roof committee. As a matter of fact, I've gotten a $460,000 grant from the Connecticut Clean Energy Fund to put solar on that existing facility. And then we started talking about roofs, and then we went from roofs into a new facility, or what were we going to do with this existing facility? They didn't need more than that. The committee has done their due diligence working with the engineer regarding all of the options to that facility, whether it just be code upgrades, small renovation projects, keeping a portion of the school and adding on to it. I think the costs are prohibitive. I probably spend more time in that building other than the teachers and the kids that are there on a regular basis with my kids playing sports up there now at their age. And quite frankly, during the storm, if any of you got up there to go take a shower, it's embarrassing. When we have people from other towns coming into the facility, it's embarrassing. And I hope the town does get the opportunity to vote on it. That's my goal. If they vote it down, then we go to Plan 2. If they support it, then we go forward with the plan and the recommendation of the building committee for a new school. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's stay on building projects and renovations. In the October 19th meeting of the Board of Selectmen, the board approves the preliminary plans to renovate the old police station for seniors and the finance department. Mr. Cimino, do you support this plan to spend $2 million on renovations, on bringing the building up to standards in the code, or do you have an alternate proposal? And how much will your plan cost?
As a member of the Economic Development Commission, I was disappointed with the initial plan there was to spend, I believe it was $3.3 million on another municipal building. I came up with a proposal. I presented to the EDC, Chairman Nipri, and the rest of the Economic Development Commission, accompanied by First Selectman Fritz and the architect. We did a tour of the building, and my plan is to make that building a community community center, if you will, a meeting house. And I'd like to make the left-hand side of that building a concession stand that can serve both inside functions as well as outside traffic, while making the entire rest of that first floor a general meeting room for town assemblies, for concerts, for art shows. I think that it would be a real showpiece, and I believe that the cost would be significantly less. It needs to be broken down, but certainly there would be less construction. Thank you.
Mr. Fritz?
Okay, this is something that we inherited when the new police station was built. There were some preliminary plans on the table. One of the issues, and we did meet with Mr. Cimino and the EDC regarding that concept. What changed subsequent to that was the senior meal center being basically removed from the American Legion Hall, and we had to find a home for them, which we did find here in the town hall. We have to take care of our seniors. They serve 100 meals a day as a Meals on Wheels site for this area. So that has transpired into a plan of a meal center, community center, consolidation of some of our town office space on the second floor, and now what has been approved is moving, possibly moving the social services department over there, because they go hand in hand, social services, senior needs, etc., needs of the elderly in the same facility. I actually, many years ago, wanted to knock it down and make a park out of it. I thought it would have been the most cost-effective way, but because it is a historical building, I had a lot of angst over that. So. By the way, the Board of Selectmen, when this was presented, way back when it went to bonding, voted 4-1. The only selectman that didn't vote for it was Selectman Abel. So it wasn't like the October 19th meeting was a little bit of a turnaround, but the initial plan has been approved way prior to October 19th.
Okay, thank you very much. Mrs. Walter?
I would just like to make one correction. Mr. Cimino is a former member of the EDC. He is not on the EDC at this point. I just want to go on the record that I am vehemently opposed to spending $2 million on the old PD. My understanding from one of my running mates who is in the business of designing and building structures is that you could build a building brand new, start to finish, twice that size for less than half of $2 million. And then, at the end of the day, after you've spent that $2 million, it goes on the list of properties that the town is required to maintain. You are then going to heat it, air condition it, paint it, carpet it, mow it, the whole 9 yards. That is not something that I think this town wants to sign up for. It's not something I want to sign up for. I think it is a big waste of taxpayer dollars. At this moment in time, that $1.5 million has not been spent on that building, and I would like to see that that does not get spent on that building.
Karen, thank you very much.
Excuse me, Chris.
Yes.
Address,
You can have a minute for rebuttal.
Well, actually, I'd like to correction. What I said was, as a member of the Economic Development Commission, I toured the building. I was up for the EDC again. I was unanimously recommended by the Republican Town Committee and voted down by the 3 Democrats. That's the only reason why I'm not on the Economic Development Commission right now.
Thank you. Mr. Fritz, let's talk about the wastewater issue in Clinton. How do you plan to solve the wastewater problem? Do you support a wastewater treatment plant? And can you be specific about the needs, especially for Long Hill Road and shoreline properties?
I've always supported the wastewater solution in this town. What happened when I took office was we were able to take a new direction. I was able to get the commissioner and the DEP, which then was Gina McCarthy, to come down to Clinton, meet with our water pollution control, the selectmen, and come up with a solution that did not involve a central point of discharge, did not involve a central plant location. The town, and Madison specifically, if you remember back in the day when the state had authorized Unilever to put a pipe down Route 1 discharging into the Hammonasset River with treated effluent, Madison went crazy. And then it was decided we were not going to discharge into an open body of water. It was going to be subsurface discharge only, which complicated matters. What the DEP allowed us to do now is to discharge in multiple locations subsurface, because it's hard, even the Shonday property has come up, to even discharge the amount of effluent that we need to do in one location. We may need several locations. We've gone back, looked at all properties over 5 acres in town. Every property that is viable is still on the list, including Shonday Shrine. And the WPCC is now going forward with CDM and Amendment 8 with a facilities plan that will pinpoint the areas and the exact amount of discharge in each of those areas of concern. Long Hill, Shoreline, they've thrown the 6 manufactured housing communities into the mix, which adds to our gallons per day. And they were going to now come up with a facilities plan that will say, in this area of town, you have this many gallons per day. We can potentially put it in the ground over here. This area, we have that many. And then potential sites for treatment facilities, not just having one large facility if we can get away with it. Okay? So we are going forward. Actually, the committee is doing more now than they have done in a long, long time. They're meeting twice a month, which is something I've always pushed for, and we're making good progress.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, all I know is that when I moved here 33 years ago, there was talk about wastewater, and 33 years later, there's still nothing but talk about wastewater. We have spent a fortune investigating and testing and on engineering firms and we have spent a fortune, and to this moment, we do not have a concrete plan for water issues in this town. As I recall, 3-4 years ago, Willie just swung your hand around and fired the entire WPCC, drawing everything to a complete halt at that point. And it was only when they threatened to bring legal action against you that you withdrew your firing of them. And through not reappointing those people that had already spent 10 or more years on the committee, they essentially had to start at zero about 3-4 years ago with an entirely new committee, with none of the history, none of the backlog, none of the work that had been done by the previous committees to fall back on. It was like starting at zero about 4 years ago. Yes, they are now meeting twice a month. Yes, the plan is to present a plan, a design in October of next year. But why has it taken 20 years and countless hundreds of thousands of dollars? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Sinina?
Too much time and too much money has been wasted for too long on this issue. Many years ago, there was a $500,000 study that was done. The clear solution lies in the Shonday Shrine properties. We need to acquire those properties via eminent domain to address the long-term issues of the town if we want to see any type of controlled development at all. That will also allow us to increase our corporate tax base, but these community septic systems, I mean, how many have they studied now? And they're down to maybe 5, and we don't know that those 5 are going to do much of anything. And so let's just go with this big plan that we paid all this money for. The answer's out there. Let's move forward with it.
Okay. Mrs. Walter.